Ireland is actually number 7. It's just doing, obviously it looks very well out of over 130 odd companies. The UK is number 21. But that is actually, you don't be fooled by those numbers. Things like that are still happening. Those type of events, panels for conferences that are all male. It's just astounding when you actually open your eyes and really look around you, how close to home these things are happening.
Yes, but if the conversation about gender diversity is only happening with women, there's never going to be any progress. So I'm hoping that there's going to be a lot of men buying tickets for your conference as well.
That is definitely one of our aims, and we were very particular about getting the men involved in the panel. Can you imagine if we didn't? Oh my God, the embarrassment.
Although I have to say, Nicola, so when I did our conference last year, the social media boot camp in Belfast, I actually had to deliberately choose, I think two men on stage, because all of my speakers were female, and I thought, that's not, because my audience is not just female, it's men and women. And I thought, so I was the opposite of these all male dominated conferences. And it was just purely because that was my network, and that those are the people that I had seen speak and was inspired by. So then I brought in my token males, and I'm sure they won't mind me saying that, they know me well.
Brilliant.
Oh dear. So to talk a little bit about how LinkedIn fits in with all of this, Nicola, obviously to get people to buy tickets to your event, I know it can be a tough gig. Now, hopefully, because you've got an audience of 240 already in your membership, I think you probably will be okay. How many people are you aiming to have at the conference?
But actually, I think we've underestimated ourselves. We did aim to have just over 100, but there's such a large audience out there that we can attract, even in terms of school children, just like your daughter, both male and female, of the larger businesses and smaller businesses in the area. And, we will be pulling upon the other lean-in circles to help us draw the audience to loads of different organisations out there too. So I'm actually quite disappointed. I think we underestimated what we can achieve.
Well, do you have the capacity to increase the venue size?
Yeah, we do, which we're lucky that way. Yeah.
Just go for it then. So what date is the conference?
So it's the 6th of March, Friday the 6th of March, 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock. And it's part of a celebration within Uri of women, because the Chamber are also holding an event after that as well, in line with the Uri Down District Council. So it'll be a great day of celebration of women from the area. It
will be. Now, the only issue is with that date, like I'm already provisionally down to speak at 3 events that week, because International Women's Day, all the events are on in that week. So it'll be interesting to see what other events are on the same day. But I'm sure the local audience, it won't really matter to them. So
that's it.
How would you consider using LinkedIn then to, first of all, promote your network? And then secondly, in terms of promoting your conference, have you thought about that?
I've done some thinking, obviously, since we've had your presence on Tuesday night. You've really influenced a lot of our members, and I'm sure LinkedIn was polluted yesterday from photographs and everybody tagging and asking questions and changing their profiles and their stories just because of all the hints and tips you were giving us. But yes, I suppose initially, and I love what you said to us before, is when you put on a post, ask a question to engage, the readers. And I think what I'd love to do is put it out there initially and then ask our members, what sort of talents do you have? Because we need all help we can get on the day. So, for example, is there any videographers out there? Anyone that's good at editing or can stop people on the way out and say, I need a little snippet. What did you feel? Event managers. So I'll draw that in on a post. We'll obviously be posting over the next few weeks, maybe a few posts a week. So that initially that's members. And then after that, we want to raise awareness.
Yeah. Do you know that you can create an event on LinkedIn?
No.
Yes.
Tell me more.
You have the ability to create an event. And I know that you're going to be selling your tickets through Eventbrite. And when you create your event, you can, first of all, it's brilliant because, you add in your image and your information, your details. You put a direct link into your Eventbrite. So here's where to get the tickets. You then can invite your entire network to look at the event. And now, I will say, when I did my LinkedIn breakfast last year, and I'm doing another one in Belfast, I think on the 20th of February, but you invite your network, and lots of people will say they're going. That does not mean they're going until they've bought their tickets.
Yes.
But also under that event, it becomes its own little space on LinkedIn, and people can start having conversations in the event section of LinkedIn.
Uh-huh.
So you could use that space to profile your speakers, for example.
Oh, yeah. Brilliant.
You've got, I think you listed about 8 or 9 speakers there, possibly.
Yeah,
so,
we have 7 at least.
Right. So how many weeks is it until the event? It's about 2 months.
6. Yeah.
Yeah. So you could do a highlight profile on each of your speakers, maybe 2 a week in the run-up in that event. People could be asking you questions, and people love having somewhere to go and ask their questions, like, is there parking? Will there be... Honestly, Nicola, if you don't have tea and coffee on arrival, that will be all they talk about.
Yeah.
Tea and coffee on arrival. I'm sure that loads of your members would bring along shortbread or something.
Oh, yeah. We're good at that.
Yeah. So having just those basic details that people need, that, say, here's our speakers, there will be parking, or maybe there's not parking. There might be people who travel from Dublin who might want to stay in because it's in the hotel, isn't it?
It is. It's in the Canal Court, yes.
So all of those questions that people might be asking you, they can ask in that event space on LinkedIn. And then if I came along and was interested, I could be reading through all that, and I could also see who else was going.
I love it. That is a revelation.
Mm-hmm. So that'd be a really good way to use it. The other thing I would do then is for you and your fellow committee members to, be posting conversation starters about the event and why you're having it, and really just raising awareness and making a real buzz about it, that people are like, well, I know where I'm going on the 6th of March. I'm definitely going to Newry. And you could even, someone like Breeda McCaig, I'm sure, if she's listening to this, she'll be going, we stop giving her ideas. I'm sure she would do a 1-minute video about what Lean In means to her, all that kind of stuff, just really creating loads of content around and creating a real buzz of excitement around the event. Because for me, the platform for Lean In, I think, is LinkedIn, because it is, so originally when I read Lean In, to me, it was originally aimed at women in a career. Would you agree?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So women in careers, the network that they hang out on when they are at work at lunchtime or whatever, and checking in on their professional updates and stuff, is LinkedIn. So it makes complete sense to me that is where you are sharing all the information about the event. Absolutely
does. And now I feel like a Dumbo that I didn't even think about all this.
Well, this is why you're on the podcast. I can help you with these things. Have you any other questions for me, Nicola, about how you might use LinkedIn, whether as an individual or as in your Lean In role?
So in terms of creating the event then, Louise, is it better that it comes from, will I be the author of that event, or do we have to have a Lean In LinkedIn page to create that event?
No, it has to be an individual.
Right, okay.
That creates the event, so that's easy solved. At this point in time, you cannot create events as your company page.
Okay.
I don't necessarily, because you've got a Facebook group for your members already, I don't think you want to be going down the lines of creating a second group on LinkedIn or organisation page on LinkedIn at the moment. It depends if you get appetite for it, because I know that so I did this free 5-day LinkedIn challenge in January, and some people sent me messages on LinkedIn and said, Louise, I don't have Facebook. And you said that there's a Facebook group associated with this. And I said, no, that's fine. Don't worry, because the entire challenge is wrapped up in the emails that I send you, and the videos are not hosted on Facebook. So there might be it'd be interesting to poll your members and find out which social media platform do they spend most time on. And, someone might just say, I have no Facebook, I have no interest in having Facebook.
Yeah, that's a really great question. I do actually know that a lot of our members don't use Facebook. And for that particular reason, it's really important for our membership that we have an email address for them. Yeah. So anything that's important all goes out through the email, and Facebook is for the general day-to-day chat. So
yes.
I think the issue with Lean In is because it's voluntary, and because we are so big and growing all the time, it's taken up more and more of my individual spare time.
Oh, I'm sure.
And to have to work with a LinkedIn page just adds to that list.
No.
That's not to say, like you say, we can do it in the future. Right now, I'm thinking, oh God.
I don't think you need to add in any extra work for yourself on. I mean, obviously the group is doing brilliantly as it is. The other thing is that you mentioned on Tuesday night that people are starting to, so for people who are listening who have never come across Lean In, the idea is that you create a circle. They call them Lean In circles, and those would be smaller groups of women and men as well. There's men in some Lean In groups too, who meet together regularly and kind of have this safe space to bounce off issues and ideas and concerns. And like 240 isn't a circle. Didn't you say it's a network?
It's now called a network. And actually, yes. And I'm so glad that our mission now is to create smaller circles, or in fact, sort of break up the membership into areas of interest, sectorally focused, location based, geographically or business company based, whatever, because the real learning and the real support comes from the smaller groups.
Yes, I totally agree with that. So actually then the people who lead those smaller circles will hopefully be doing, you could literally have an email list of here's my 5 or 6 or 10 circle leaders in this network and just send them out. Here's the blurb about the conference, and can you please send this out to your circle members, so that if they're fielding questions, it's not all coming back to you, Nicola.
Yeah, and that's my hope, certainly for the future. We just very recently become the network. So, and literally we're 2-3 weeks in January, and I've already 2 circles started up. So excited about that. There is just the appetite for it. And I think the big thing about Lean is there's so much support out there in terms of their online resources. Just even picking up the phone to speak to a local leader, the constant emails and newsletters and research that's there. So you're never on your own. Even if you are starting on your own, you're never really on your own.
That's super. So what's your next event, like your next local event, or is it all focused now on the conference?
So right now it's all focused on the conference. That being said, I have a million ideas and there's just not enough months in the year.
Oh, you're like me.
And it's funny, we've got to the stage now where our members are approaching us and saying, well, I am a specialist in whatever, I don't know, EFT or vision boards or whatever. And I'd love to run an event. I can do nutritional talk. And they're even coming to us and saying, I have a space if you want to hold your event there. And that was the dream when I first started. I thought, how will I ever get to that stage? I think the hardest part, the obstacles for me, was finding a space to hold the event. And we were very lucky that, and I know that Lisa Strutt, who is part of the Lean In team in Belfast, had said to me when I first started, you're pushing an open door. And there was never a truer word said, because the appetite from the business community in Newry has been fantastic. And we've been sponsored particularly by organisations like Newry Bid, the Business Improvement District. I've sponsored venues for us and some catering. And so even though we never knew who we were going to go or where we were going to meet from 1 month to the next, we always got there in the end. And now it's at the stage where people are coming to us and saying, come to my place, or we want you. So
excellent.
It's really pushing an open door.
Brilliant. Oh, that's excellent. What a way to finish. Well, Nicola, for people who are listening who want to find out more about you and also about your network, where can they find you?
So we're registered under the leanin.org website. We also operate out of our Facebook page, which is Lean In Newry. And if anybody locally or even abroad wants to pick up the phone and chat, I'm always happy to take a call, because I'm so passionate about what Lean In represents, and I would just love to spread the word.
Excellent. And they can also find you on LinkedIn, I would assume.
Of course, yes. How did I forget about that? Nicola McGuinness on LinkedIn.
Excellent. Nicola, it's been a complete delight to talk to you today, and thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
It's been my pleasure, Louise. I so appreciate being asked. Thank you so much.
So that was Nicola McGuinness, who is the Policy Research and Information Project Manager for Intertrade Ireland. And as you heard, the head of Lean In Newry network, a network of 240 women. That's absolutely amazing. So I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. We did talk a little bit about LinkedIn, but I really wanted to get Nicola on board because I'm so passionate about what she's doing. I think it's an amazing thing. And also I met so many wonderful women, and I think their conference is going to be really a brilliant morning out. So Just popping in at the end as well to, if you want help with your LinkedIn, do get in touch, because I love